As Sunday Fun Day people, welcome to your weekly setup. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy. I will be your on screen facilitator this evening as we get ready to set up for a brand new week, diving into the journal and getting ready to see what life's going to bring us. And I am, I'm sitting like right in front of a window. We're at our cabin. The sun is sparkling on the water. It's a perfect day here. So yeah, I'm kind of kind of glowing. Katie is hanging out with us in the chat. Katie is coming to us from Scotland, but she is totally packing her bags and she'll be heading back to the States. She just popped on to give you a wave, but we're going to get her back into the States within a month. So we're really excited to be able to work together. Katie and I will be back tomorrow morning for anyone who might want a second dose of a weekly setup. I found this graphic for you to check your battery. We're actually going to kind of use this when we get ready for our setup and deciding on that. How do we want to feel this week? And yes, Sierra, for sure, the crew is all here. Everybody's saying hello. Is there anybody here for the first time? Because we want to give you a really big welcome. I welcome all of our kind of, like I said, our Sunday Fun Day bunch. You guys have kept these appointments. You want to make sure that you are being accountable to your journey. But if there's anybody here for the first time, just drop me in the chat. This is cameras off and mics off, and you are invited to visit and hang out in the chat and get to know folks, as to your comfort level. You don't have to participate. Lots of folks will, if their schedule allows, will do a couple of these just to be able to kind of connect with the Sonder family. So anyway, let's get going with our setup. Make sure that chat is set to everyone. We like to we like to communicate with each other, and that's how we'll do it. You totally bypassed last week in your journal, Greta, and you're glad to be back. And I'm glad that you just called that out because guess what? You're human, and you help us remind ourselves that we are also human, and we may have weeks that the journal just it kind of goes by the wayside. And y'all hear me, I say this all the time, your blank pages are part of your journey also, and you can look at that and go, oh, what can I learn from that? Well, the week was rough, or I didn't feel well, or so it's all about taking what you need. So thank you for that honesty. And it just makes us feel like, okay, that we're right in there too sometimes. So, but a couple of fun announcements before we get going. We have a new digital version of this journal available that is it's marketed as the minimalist journal. And so, if there's someone in your life who maybe wouldn't do the florals, this journal would be for them. Maybe this journal could be for you if you want to have more of a clean, no graphics, or you want to do your own graphics. So there is that. Katie will be sharing a link to that so that you could directly link to this journal. There's going to be a 15% off for this right now. But this could be something that you could share with someone in your life who may not be a floral kind of person. And then another little announcement we have is we would love to encourage y'all, if you're looking to do a little random act of kindness this week, go log on to the Silk and Sonder website, the Apple or Google Play Store, and especially Trustpilot, and leave a review for Silk and Sonder. Let folks know about this magic in your life, how it's helped you, what you've learned about yourself, why you keep, coming back and using this tool, and how it's making you or giving you the tools to be the best version of yourself. Mayhaw would love to do that. So I'm really going to encourage you to go do that. I actually got on Trustpilot today and did my review. So, Trixie, I don't know that there will be a paper version. I'm not sure if they're there yet, but for now it is that. That's a good question, and for now it's just being offered in digital form. I'm not. those of you who might be doing the digital planner, digital journal, you could maybe answer, maybe you could get it and print your own pages. I'm not really sure. I really, really like being able to write on paper. So the digital one is not for me. So anyway, but that's also, I was going to say, Katie dropped the hello at silkandsonder.com. Great feedback for headquarters. So that might be a good thing to send their way. We always share our community guidelines when we get together because we want to remind each other of taking care of each other, taking care of ourselves, keeping this space nice and safe and all that good stuff. And change, y'all. We are in week 4 of change. Now, it's crazy that we're going to be looking at April next week. That, oh my goodness. But I loved finding this little graphic for this week. And I kind of try to lean into this when I can, the perspective shifts that will change your life. And it's kind of like, instead of I have to do the dishes, I get to do the dishes. And what does that mean? It means I got to eat a nice meal. Or instead of I failed, you shift that perspective to I learned. It fell apart can be put into it fell into place. I messed up can be swapped out with I grew from this. Instead of thinking this is rejection, embrace it as this is redirection. It's kind of like what we say when we look at our thorns and we try to find the silver lining within those really tough things. So that could be a great graphic to just grab a screenshot of, or just to remind yourself that our perspective allows change in our life to show up in a lot of different ways that can be positive if we are intentional with that. So, are y'all ready for week 4, our last mind map question? If you do happen to be here for the very first time, this is your bonus prompt that happens when you come to the weekly setups. And this can be done anywhere in your journal. It's not printed, it's bonus content. And so you can do this anywhere. We are on week 4. There's no catching up. You're welcome to grab all 4 questions, a screenshot, or take a picture of them if you want to go back and maybe work on those. But we are in week 4. And whoops, and this week, week 1 was the reflection on change, like how adaptable are we? And I think I've shared with y'all, I was feeling really sassy, like, oh, I was an educator and that line of work really helped me be flexible. And I think I handle change. And then somebody said, yeah, until they do the grocery store change up and they change all the aisles. And I was like, oh, you're calling me out because I don't like that. So maybe I'm not as flexible as I thought. Week 2 is, thinking about a positive change in our life. What did that how did that impact? What did it bring our way? Last week we looked at the opportunity of a hard change and how it led to new opportunities or insights or growth. And this week, growth through change. I love that. Oh, you were, yeah, it's so funny because the grocery stores. All right. So the reflection is identify an area in your life needing change for growth. What are the first steps you can take to welcome this change, and what positive impacts could bloom? And I'll go back to this big slide. I was going to share mine. Y'all know I wrote the questions on post-it notes this month, and then I put the answer underneath it. And so for me, here I go. You're hearing my record on repeat. Yikes, I need a routine change in all things health. I know what to do, but I'm not consistent with nutritionally dense meal planning and strength building. So, my steps to take: set a day, Friday, put a little question mark there, to meal plan for the following week. Don't leave it to chance, which is what we've both been doing when we think, what do you want for dinner? An hour before. Prep healthy snacks, focusing on eating the rainbow rather than the mindless snacking on quick stuff, which is chips and salsa for me. And then frame my exercise with if and then statements. So if I walk for 30 minutes, I'm going to feel better and my knees will get lubricated, or whatever. So do if then statements. So I've got a really great graphic here of things that you are allowed to outgrow. So maybe one of these will kind of spark how you answer this prompt. Friendships that no longer align. Maybe that's an area that needs a change, or habits like mine that don't serve you. Or do you feel guilty about putting yourself first? Maybe that needs to be changed. Maybe there's some expectations in your family that need changing. And I want to also share one more graphic before we start writing. This is an old Instagram, reminder from Silk and Sonder. Focus on the step in front of you, not the whole staircase. So you might literally draw a staircase tonight that looks like that and put in these small, powerful steps you can take toward that change. So yeah, Ellen, it really friendships are hard and I have a friendship that ended, gosh, probably 25 years ago, and it still is like right here. When I think about that person and what it meant to our family, that's a tough one. And families, we all know about that. So, I'm going to put on some music. I'll go back and forth between these three slides while you're working on this. And, feel free to share in the chat as you're comfortable. You don't have to share. But if it feels good to put those words out there, you'll get the support you need from the Sonder community. And you also might inspire someone else as they're looking at the area that they need to change. I'm going to see if I can adjust my sunlight a little bit while we're working on this. All right, y'all. I know you may still be working on this a little bit, so feel free to continue to write. And I really appreciate the sharing that was in the chat. It is so tricky, when change is forced upon you and you don't really have a choice when you're looking at a significant change. So maybe the growth is, you look at it's asking you to identify an area in your life needing change for growth. And so perhaps if there is a change that's being forced upon you, like your job is saying you must do XYZ, is the change buried somewhere in how you um, embrace that change? Like, what is your part where you can feel like you have some control over that? Appreciate the just the overall sharing. Sierra said, thinking of it in terms of, she's going through this health journey and thinking of it in terms of focusing on one step at a time. We so love to future cast, right? We want to be all the way to the top of that staircase. And so reminding ourselves though to take little bites and do what we can do, those small first steps. So as you're finishing this up, continue to share as you'd like in the chat, and we'll go ahead and move forward into our next reflection, which is our rosebud thorn, which you will find on page 50. Those thorns are the things that caused us some grief last week, some challenges. We may have had control over them. We may not have had control over them. They could be health related, they could be people related. Mine isn't terribly significant. I'm just still having trouble adjusting to the time change. I'm just off. And so, I'm not it's kind of messing with the routine stuff that I struggle with anyway. But that time change has just felt rough this week. The buds, what are you looking forward to? You'll hear this on repeat for me. I'm just looking forward to gardening, 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 because it's that time of year. Amanda cannot find her journal. She says in the chat, Amanda, take notes. It's got to be here somewhere. When I can't find my journal, it's on my printer because I've made a copy of a tracker or a coloring page. That's where I always go back and look. I hope you find it. So those things that you're looking forward to, the opportunities that might be coming down the pipe, and it could be something like later in the year. Yesterday was March 21st, which is 3, 2, 1 countdown day, and I challenged everybody at that weekly setup. Go find yourself something to count down to, something to look forward to, and start that countdown. And then the rose is your highlight from this past week, something that you're celebrating or that made you smile or an accomplishment you made. And they can be small things like I brushed my teeth every morning. Um, for me, it was having 2 spring break days with my two out of three grandkids. So my 8-year-old and my 5-year-old, and it's just fun. I get tired, but those are my roses all the time. Anyhow, I'm going to stop talking and put on a little bit of music. Y'all share what your week brought you, and then we'll get going with the rest of our setup. Okay, friends, Amanda found her journal. All is well. We can we can carry on. I really like this reflection because it does help us look at the ups and downs of life. It allows us that opportunity to put a lot of power in paper, especially for the thorns, the things that are not going so great. And because you're sharing this in community, you're like kind of putting it out into the universe and being reminded that you are not alone. So I really appreciate you working on this and then just sharing and being who you are for this time. So thank you for that. Now we're going to go to our weekly planner, and that is on, we'll be working on pages 52 and 53 this week, which is week 13. Let's call it Lucky 13. And we've got lots of things this week. I mean, Tamale Day is tomorrow, as well as Puppy Day. Chip and Dip Day, Scribble Day comes later in the week on the 27th. And for you cat owners, the 27th is Respect Your Cat Day, in case you needed that reminder. The 29th, a week from now, is Mom and Pop Business Owners Day. So kind of that shop small mentality. I love that. So these are just, you don't have to use these ideas, but sometimes putting a little whimsy in your day can make that day a little more tolerable. Perhaps you go into Magical Monday and a Try It Tuesday and a wonderful Wednesday. You know, when I dropped my kids off at school when they were little, every day I would tell them, have a marvelous Monday and a terrific Tuesday and a wonderful Wednesday and a thrilling Thursday. And I did that every single day. And I will still get texts from my 30-something-year-old daughter now saying, thrilling Thursday with a question mark. So make your days kind of fun if you can. And you'll see this graphic again when we get ready to set up page 2. So don't worry if you miss something. Oh, happy birthday, Carly. Anybody else celebrating? I love that. And Tuesday may be National Cheesesteak Day, Christine. I didn't write everything in because there's not as much room, but y'all can go to that like National Day of and look that up. So let's look at a couple of examples of pages before we get going. And Kimberly L., I'm so glad you're here tonight because I did want to shout out this page that you've worked on. You shared this. Happy birthday, Catherine, on Thursday. She had her birthday. Um, Kimberly had shared this page in Sonder Club, and I snapped it up, and I loved this because it is the anniversary of Kimberly's dad's passing, his death. And I love how she controlled that day and the talk that was going, the tapes that played in her head. And today is actually the day. We are so glad that you are with us. But the reason I wanted to share this with you is that we all have seasons where there might be weeks or days that just feel particularly hard. And the way Kimberly loved on herself through her journal work really spoke to my heart. My dad's birthday, I lost him when I was 20. I've been mostly without my dad. But his birthday's the 27th, and I was inspired to think about how I'm going to celebrate his day of birth because of this page. So, she says, this week I need to feel grief. We are so often told to just get over it. We'll be fine. Truck on, go forward, move ahead. And she embraced the grief, and that's such a healthy attitude. We all needed to know that. But the major goals were acknowledge that the week's going to be different, and it's okay. Maybe you do that for one day. Maybe there's a day that's going to be different, and it's okay. Invite grief in with open arms because it's going to come anyway, invited or not. So true. And be a patient hostess while it visits, and it will leave again. And honor your own unique needs. There's no guilt in self compassion. And then there's that grief bingo built to honor her dad. So I know everyone can remember things in their life that may show up, and I want to encourage you to invite that in like Kimberly's doing, and become friends with it. Not that you love when it shows up, but that you can definitely process through. So I really hope that this speaks to you like it spoke to me. And Kimberly, thank you so much for sharing that in Sonder Club. And y'all will probably see me pull this up from time to time. Tracking those goals that she set for her habits and activities with the word peace. And if it didn't happen, it's just a little extra love with that hug. The one on the right, great example of how you use that tool called the Eisenhower Matrix, where you plug your to-dos in, but you put them in these quadrants to help you decide how to approach those to-dos and get the main things done first. The three goals are those categories, and then they pop something in under those categories. And then down below for the habits and activities, for the one on the right, they set goal numbers and they're going to track that. They're also using their little calendar up in that left hand top left hand corner as a visual to kind of cue that certain things are happening on those days. So I think that that's really good. And then they have lots of words for how they need to feel this week. So I'm going to ask you again to check your battery. What are you feeling right now? And then let's take that into framing out what we need for this coming week. Do you need more of the same? Keep doing it. Or if you are struggling, the question says practice triage. What area of your life is suffering the most? And focus on that one area. And that will kind of help you maybe select a word for the week. Or if you're empty, try to create a boundary and do something that will fill you up. So check your battery really quickly. And then we'll take that over into how we want to feel, which can be done with words, statements, stickers, a quote. Perhaps you do a little drawing. I love this. I want to feel like I have a spring in my step. Isn't that one so cute? And a lot of you have a word of the year. Does that show up here? Go ahead and drop in the chat what you are hoping for the week. Nathaniel wants to feel connected. Stephanie says, I'm actually feeling good. So I want to be filled with joy. Just keep it going, right? Adrian says, I just need to be better. I just need to feel better. Whoops. I went the wrong way. And then we're going to take those feelings, keep dropping those feeling words in the chat, and we're going to set up our goals and our to-dos. You've seen this page before. These are some of those suggestions for setting the goals up. Lots of folks will use the three categories like mind, body, soul, or delete, delegate, delight. Go look at page 8, start, stop, continue, and fill those things in. Pull out that word of the year to set your goals. Look at your vision board. Hopefully, you have that nearby your journaling area. And you might want to do a personal challenge. Go take a look at your intentions page. We're wrapping up the month. What's left undone that you really wanted to accomplish this month? Maybe those go back through your other weeks, see what could be brought forward. Ooh, Marissa, I love jubilant. That's a great word. So, when you set goals, we encourage you to create SMART goals, which means they're very specific, measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, and they're time bound. And then here's a little graphic on the left about ways you can show up for yourself this week as you are doing your goals and getting those to-dos done. Give yourself extra time to get places or to do things. Ask for help when you need it. Who needs that reminder? Look for glimmers. I have a couple of graphics later on for glimmers. Rest without guilt. Go for a walk. Disconnect from news that's draining you. I've shared with y'all, I watch the news maybe one time a week now. I can't. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to a friend. So maybe some of those things will inspire how you set up your goals and to-dos. Here are some great examples from y'all. We've got the to-do list upper left, the AM routine and PM routine. And then the one below that, the to-do list is set up with your need, your want, and your hope. So I need to do this, I want to do this, and I hope to do this. And I love their three major goals. Go for one family walk with one little check box. I love that. That is doing a small, measurable goal there. Put air in the tires, little box. Declutter one section, a little box. So it doesn't mean they can't declutter five sections, but their goal is set very, very specific and measurable, small. Just do one. You might do more, but I think that's great. Here's a couple more examples. The goals on the upper one have been changed to values, the three major values of the week: learning, fun, and being authentic. And the one over on the bottom, instead of three major goals, it's quotes. So quotes that are going to guide them for the week. Some stickers. Look at that sticker for the to do. Just right. You can do it. And then we've got this repurpose is the goals are the to-dos, the goal section, and then the to-do section is a weekly poem. So kind of like that repurpose. And we've got, instead of goals, we have the morning routine, and it's time bound. They've given it the assigned time of the morning: 4:30 weigh in, 4:45 coffee, 5 o'clock go exercise. This person is getting going nice and early. Another repurpose, you go girl. Do you see that one up there? And it's, just celebrating the things that happen. This person found their earbuds. They wrote January 6th, so they're dating that. And then I love this week. I want to feel a fresh perspective on my past and a renewed hope for my future. And then a couple of quotes to support perspective and hope, and then some suggestions there for repurposing. Let me put on some music while you start getting this page set up, and then we'll drop down and look at those habits and activities. going to drop down to that habit and activity tracker at the bottom of the page. And most of these will probably just be the same ones you had going on last week. Those habits take a while to establish. The activities could be something specific to this week. Here are some examples from our Sonder family. I really loved finding this bottom left one. The whole thing, the whole tracker here is kind of themed. It's got a thematic approach this week with the slow morning. And so these are the things that are going to happen to have a slow morning. Light therapy, tea, breakfast. So I love how this one section is dedicated to one part of this person's life, kind of themed out. So perhaps that will speak to you. Someone else is kind of taking that same approach, but their theme is tracking their fruits and veggies and doing, eating the rainbow. And you can see they've got all the colors listed there. You can circle days that you need certain things to happen. The one up on top at the left, you see, two things. You don't have to fill in every line. I like the one at the top on the right just because of the color coding. I thought that kind of popped. They're not setting goals, they're just tracking, but they're using those nice, bright, happy colors to mark off what they're doing. And then the one on the bottom right, instead of goal set, it just says you really can do this. And so just, using it as a tracker for the week. Here's a couple of more trackers. You can see one's just not going to be used. I'm giving myself grace this week. I'm not going to use it. You could maybe do stickers here. The one next to it across the top there, look at the second and third items. Those habits or those spaces are actually two things. So the circles have been divided in half to be able to track that. And then the one at the bottom there, there's an example of circling days that you want certain things to happen. And one of their check-ins is going to be with their personal coach through the coaching app and check in with Jenny. And they want to do that on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So let me put on, and one more. I'm bringing this one back around. This is Gloria's page, and she does this a lot where to sort of counter cortisol in your body, which is not a great hormone to have hitting you hard. This is leaning into getting those happy brain chemicals, the oxytocin, the dopamine, the endorphins, and the serotonin. And so she spells out dose each day that she does these things. If she did something that gives her a little dopamine, like creative time or completing a task, that day gets a D. Having social connection and snuggle time, that is an O for the oxytocin. So using this idea of going for the good chemicals to make our brains happy, that's a nice way to use this on this tracker. And then we've got some habit tracker ideas if you're looking to change things up. So I'll put on a little bit of music while we work on this section. Tell us what you will be tracking this week. Marcia is going to be using this tracker for her mornings to get off on a good start. Many of you put, they're the same as usual, which is wonderful because it does take a while for habits to form, and we want to see those same things every day. And plus, when we give ourselves those wins for things that are really starting to, wire into our brain, there's just a lot of good feedback to our brains. We get happy when we check off those tasks. So, good luck with that habit tracker this week. I know that we're all going to be able to get it done and finish up this week strong. We're going to pop over now to our second page, which has these four sections: the meal plan, the mind, body, health plan, and the shopping list, as well as a little I am loving space. And I always say this, we all do that. This is the page that tends to get a lot of repurposing. So you can use the page just as it's printed. But I'm going to show you lots of slides with lots of different things to consider for any of these spaces for repurposing, using them just as they are. Perhaps you need three different spaces to address your mind, body, health. And so you change your meal plan into something, and a shopping list into a bingo board about taking care of yourself. And then your mind, body, health plan might have some little journaling prompts. So it's really about doing what you need for you. There is this graphic again. I'll bring it back around in case you want to create some extra fun days in one of these spaces for you. Yes, Ellen says she puts the positive affirmations in that meal planner. Those are such good spaces to write in. Here are a couple pages from y'all, and you can see there's an example of affirmations there. The Mind Body Health Plan for the one on the left, it's the to-dos and highlights of the day. I've got a lot of those to show you. Got a couple of really good glimmer slides to share. They're going to have a quote of the week in the shopping space, whereas the one on the right is using the shopping space as a shopping space, but also using those stickers. They want to be stuck. Maya says they have to fulfill their sticker destiny. And so maybe those stickers are what you need to see when you open your page and get those positive affirmations. We saw the habit tracker where this person was going to check in with Jenny. This person is using their meal planner to check in with Jenny, maybe make some notes about that coaching app. What am I doing today? What kind of things am I looking at in my life? And so they'll put their notes there about Jenny. And then they're using their Mind Body Health Plan as a reading log. Got a great sticker there on that shopping space. Here are a couple more examples. I love the idea of today's number one. Like here's the main thing of the day that's in the meal planner there on the left. And then you can see the shopping list has been repurposed into the morning routine. I'm always working on my morning and evening routine. So when I do that, I put my morning routine in my goal section and my evening routine in the shopping list. We've got the one good thing of the day. Again, that idea of looking for glimmers. And then we've got a bingo board over there on the right. So many ways to set this up. Here's a little mini reflection about what happened today that's going to go in the meal plan. Another tracker there in the Mind Body Health with a quote of the week. And then here is a decluttering log. So tracking those things that are being decluttered. And the Mind Body Health says decluttered completed with the area, bedroom, closet, hallways. And then if those things are done, the second column is, oh, thank you, Leanne, for posting that. The one on the left is hers. The decluttering log on the right, there, the far right hand column is a treat for me. So a reward system for doing the thing and getting that done. I always love to reward myself. I deserve it. Some more repurposing there, and here are a couple of meal plans used in conjunction with food. You can see there's a tracker on the left where they're just writing in what they're having, and then the one on the right is I'm trying to get to there. Look, I love these stickers. So there's two fruits and 4 veggies every day. And they just they use these great little stickers to track that. And then they'll check off those little dashes when they do that. So that's a fun way to use that meal planner. Also, that meal planner has these water droplets, and I love the repurposing of water droplets. There's 8 of them, so perhaps during an 8-hour day, you do some kind of check-in with yourself. Maybe you use this in conjunction with your mood tracker, and you just you check in with self, or you're drinking every time you fill your cup, or every time you drink, or you color code it for what you're drinking. I also love someone else. You can look sort of over to the right. Someone is going to use it to track their fruits and veggies. Another person's using it for their medication and vitamins, and someone else is going to track their I feel calm or their energy level. So, that's that look, that could be a little mini tracker within this page. All right, and here come all the slides with lots of things that could be put anywhere on this page. But so maybe they'll inspire you. Here's an example of the Mind Body Health Plan being used for daily glimmers. And those are those small everyday moments that help regulate your nervous system. We hear the word trigger. Oh, that triggers me. Glimmers are the opposite. Glimmers are the things that help you regulate and help your mindset stay flush. So Phyllis is calling out. You use glimmers every day, looking for that positivity in life. So they can be, and it's small. It's just slowing down to notice, right? Here are some glimmer bingo. Maybe you create a bingo and you try to, you put these happy little moments in there and try to find them throughout the week. We've got little things we're smiling about, some more little glimmer moments or happiness. Today's glimmer is a slow start Sunday. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Phyllis. Um, I've spoken to the HALT method before. This is taken from the world of recovery, and it's when you're not feeling your best, stop and then do this reflection. Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? And most times when we're not feeling our best selves, we're one of those 4 things. And if we can identify that, then we can stop and put a plan in place to address the hunger or to address the loneliness. And so there's an example in the Mind Body Health Plan. This person said, am I lonely? Well, my plan then will be to reach out. Am I tired? It's time for me to power down. And they've got it written so it's front of mind. And as I say, we're not left to our own devices. You've already set yourself up for that. Here are a couple of examples of embracing your senses. This is a really good thing to go in one of these spaces. You could do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. I just used my Mind Body Health Plan one week as a sense tracker, and it was kind of like looking for those glimmers, but pairing them with the senses that I was engaged. And this is inspired by the author Gretchen Rubin. And so that's just kind of how I did that. But that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique is amazing for helping you de-escalate, calm down cortisol, take a moment for yourself. So that might be a good thing to show up somewhere. And then the rest of these slides I've had in most of my setups for this month. So they should look familiar if you've been with me. But these might inspire like your week. Perhaps your spring cleaning challenge can be inspired. Something in one of these sections can be inspired by that. Or you're doing a photo of the day challenge. Again, another moment to stop and look for certain things which will help you regulate your emotional health. We've got some spring self-care, some ways to fill your own cup. Here's from the Silk and Sonder Instagram account. We're kind of finishing this calendar out. So these are things that you could take and plug into any of those days. And then finally, we're going to ask you to think about what are you loving right now and then share that in the chat. Is there like a show, a book? I've gotten best book recommendations from y'all. But I also wanted to call out to this person is looking at all the affirmations from the week and they're choosing their favorite one and writing it in the I am loving box. This is favorite affirmation of the week. Living with intention brings me harmony and grace. So I love that. So I'm going to put on some music while you go through. I'll put all these slides back on so you can grab a screenshot or an image. And you're going to Elton John tribute on Saturday. Catherine, that sounds amazing. Phyllis says she fills that out midweek. I love that. All right, so let me stop talking, put on some music. I'll go back through all these slides and then we'll come back and I have a couple more announcements and we will close our time together. Well, you did it. You carved out time to be intentional with your journal and get yourself set up for a positive week of really good stuff. I'm so proud of y'all for showing up and supporting each other the way that you did. Thank you for that. I love this community more than words could say. Would love to see your setup in Sonder Club, even if it's just one section that you're going to try something new. Let us see that. Tell us about it. Tell us what you're going to be doing. Again, just that shout out. Katie will drop these links in the chat. So watch them go by and grab anything that speaks to you. We have recorded this social. You'll be able to watch a recording of that. Katie and I will be back in the morning with the same content. We have the minimalist digital journal available now. We would love also to encourage you to leave a positive review for Silk and Sonder. And I will, well, Katie and I are glad you were here, and Katie and I will see you soon. Make it a great week, Sonder family.